anyways, we go into the second period. We're losing 1-0 in the second period on a flutter. We end up tying it 1-1. There's a wrist shot at the end of the third period that goes over Hank's shoulder. We end up losing this game 2-1. It was actually Fedorov from distance. And I never forget it, but I get on the plate afterwards and go over, and Chris Drury come over. They're like, Valley, what'd you think about that goal? Don't you think Hank should have had it? And I'm like, look at these guys, like, do you have any idea what I've been through?
Yeah. The emotional roller coaster is heavy.
No, but it's like, you get so banged up mentally, physically. Hank was just, carried our team for probably 30 games to get there in the first place, overwhelmed in the first round series. And you don't know, I'm just saying, like, if you've seen the best guys go through it the way I have in a lot of cases, I've seen Roberto and Rick DiPietro, and, I've talked to you about Jason LaBarbera. Like, I've seen these guys manage it, and it can be just so heavy. I just think that at this stage, you know what you do with Skinner? You bring him in, and if you're the coach, you bring him in, you say, Stu, how you feeling? Do you think you're all right for the next game? And if he hesitates for a split second, he's not okay. You need to look at him in the eye that way. And I've told you guys stories of being in the coaching room where we bring a guy in and say, hey, you're playing again tomorrow. And they say, well, you said I only had to play Friday night.
Yeah.
Okay, guess what? You're not playing now.
Change their mind.
Wow.
So you need to know. And mentally, I'm just trying to explain to you how hard it can be and what it can do to the best.
You're watching and listening to Steve Valiquette, analyst for MSG, CEO of ClearSight Analytics. So you can speak of this, playing the position, but all of this talk about Bennett and Florida bumping the goalie, did it get to the point where it maybe, I don't know, just absorbed them a little bit too much? Could that be part of it? Like, I'm watching, and it's just not Skinner. Bob's gotten into it too, where it's like you're now.
Bob's always been like that.
It's looking like a soccer game with some of these guys trying to draw penalties, and I think it's brutal. But could this have just overplayed its hand in Skinner a little bit? The constant talk about bumping of a goalie.
You know what, Kipper? It doesn't bother anybody when they're in the game. It really doesn't. I probably shouldn't tell this story, but I will.
We like it when you do.
Yeah. In the OHL, I was playing against this kid named Chris George, who's like 6'6", just nasty, 250 minutes, playing for Barrie at the time, and I came under him and hit him in the undercarriage, and like he went down, and I heard from his teammates after the game, he wants to kill me. Like, he physically wants to kill me because he was puking after the game because I hit him in the nuts so hard. And I never did that again. Like, I didn't do it again. Now, I sort of did it because I knew I wasn't going to play against him again.
Very safe on the bench.
Yes, smart man.
But like, I remember seeing him at what's that bar in London, Jack's. I see him in the summertime at Jack's, and man, I think he's coming for me. And I'm just getting ready to fight. I'm like, oh great, now I gotta fight George. I'm gonna get the snot beat out of me. And he comes up to me, he's ready to say something, and I just hand him my beer. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. No hard feelings. But I'm telling you,
Did it
I
work?
didn't do that again. I did not do that ever again. I apologize to him, Chris. If you're listening, man, I really apologize for that. And you just, in the back of your mind as a goalie, you don't go there because it can go past the line where it interferes with your focus. And look, Bob, when I watch Bob play right now, I'm very impressed with how quickly he sets his feet and how active he gets out of his crease. Like, we're talking about the reverse there from Stu coming out slow. I would advise Stu, don't use that move, buddy. Honestly, just stay on your feet the whole time. Mm-hmm. And whereas with Bob, I'm watching him force out, set his feet in the white paint and be solid. And he's forcing a lot of shots wide because of it. And he's so big. Like, you see that save right there? I know that not everybody can see it, but it's a save that Bob misses with his glove, but because he's out so far, it hits him in the shoulder. And that's what I've seen a lot of. He doesn't have to be perfect, guys. He doesn't have to be perfect because he's so active in his crease and he's such a strong skater that if you were looking at the full scope of skaters and you were going to rank them in the NHL, Bob's right there with Dustin Wolf, whereas Stu Skinner's, he's really at the lower end of the low end. And I think that he needs to back up to be successful. And that's why he needs a reset.
Are you a Pickard guy at all? Do you have a thought? I know he doesn't play a ton of hockey. Do you have an opinion on him one way or the other as a goaltender?
Sorry, Barney, it cut out my ear thing. Can you say it one more time?
Just Pickard. Are you a
Pickard.
Pickard guy? Do you have a thought on him one way or the other?
Pickard is a battler. I mean, you know what, Barney? He's Billy Smith is what he is. He is Billy Smith, modern day. He's going to go in there and grind. It's not going to be pretty. Sometimes when the goals go in, they don't look pretty. But if you need somebody to go in there and give you that moral boost, like just a breath of fresh air, just go in there and grind. And I think everybody would rally around it. You know, you saw it in the LA series.
So did that window, that stretch, help potentially make a call for the next game?
Yeah, you've got 2 days to figure it here. And I think, again, if you get the sense from Stu, and you know him better than anybody if you're his coach and coaching staff, if you get the sense that he needs just to let this thing breathe until we get back to Edmonton, all day long you're confident with a guy that's gone 6-0 for you in Pickard. And you wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Pickard. So if he's ready and he's healthy, which it appears he is, let him go in there and just grind. And again, I'd go with him because of just the overall sense of team chemistry and belief a little bit that way.
Are you good to go away from the series at all?
Yep.
Is that all right? Unrestricted free agency is a few weeks away. Last year we talked about, you thought Stolarz was one of the guys that was a good buy low. You know, a guy that had upside and could do it. You also pinpointed Kevin Lankinen before Kevin Lankinen had a good season. Is there anyone on your mind out there?
Yeah, you're good, apparently.
Who's next? Who's the next guy to pop? You got any UFA goalies out there?
You know what?
Or just guys who are under contract.
No, but it's funny. No, I looked at it. I looked at it today, and this is the thinnest year we've seen in a really long time. So I would say that the best performing goalie that you might need in something like a 1A is actually Jake Allen. Mm-hmm. Jake Allen would be the guy that you'd bring in to support. Look, hey, if you had Jake Allen in Edmonton's net right now, Barney, they'd be in a better position.
Yeah.
All right. You know, that's the type of situation
depressing.
you put Jake Allen in. It's true, though.
Yeah.
It's true. You know, from January 1st, Jake was the fourth best performing goalie in overall expected saves. So, like, you're not getting somebody that's hurting. And I think he's still 34 years old. He's not over the hump.
Yep.
And I think he'd come in at a price point that a team like Edmonton, don't forget, Edmonton's not supposed to have Stu Skinner as their number one right now. It's supposed to be Jack Campbell. He should be in year 3, I think, of his contract. It's almost unfair to pile on Stu Skinner.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're looking at other goalies around the league that can come in and fill a void where you're not going to spend top dollar, Alex Lyon would be another option, or Chris Drieger. Jonas Johansson, I like a lot in Tampa Bay, but there is not a blue chip find that you can really pull in like we've seen in the last couple of years.
What about Dan Vladar?
No.
No. What about Anton Forsberg? My last one.
No.